Hi and welcome to the Power Platform Virtual Happy Hour. This is a recording of a live meeting that took place over Teams. Expect F's, Jeff's and controversial opinions. Please subscribe in your usual place and join us on Twitter at Power Platform Virtual Happy Hour. In the first episode, Mark Smith and Steve Mordue discussed Microsoft Dynamics and Power Platform Wave 1 updates. Our hosts, Alison Mulligan, Lee Baker, Chris Huntingford and myself, Carl Cookson, try to keep the level of decorum to a minimum and fail.
Now with the tech and are right raring to go back on 7 o'clock. Thanks for coming and joining us today, and we have a slightly new format where Alison, if she manages to get back on, is going to ask a bunch of questions to two of the biggest legends in the industry in which we work. Hoping for a controversial answer or two through some of this. Mark, I'm looking
I take people that Mordue and Penny Byrne.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, that's exactly
biggest legends in our industry.
Absolutely. So moving on, and let's, as we've used up some of the time sorting this out, let's kind of get stuck in as best we can. Quick recap on the quick code of conduct here. You can read that out, so you can read that to yourself, so I'm not going to read it aloud. It'll be quicker for you to read, but I think the short and sweet part of that is just don't be a dick. So, as we've talked about, the agenda is just between four idiots. We're just going to start asking Steve and Mark some questions, loosely around the sort of Wave 1 release, and kind of probe, get some knowledge from them, and just have a bit of a laugh and a joke along the way.
Mark, why have you got your hand?
Mark, do you want to say something? You're allowed with me.
You're muted, though.
You're on mute.
Are
you a cat?
Yeah, no, I was actually just fucking with you. When you was muted, I was actually just pretending to speak, but wasn't. Carry on. Good to have you back, Alison.
Thanks. Thank you for welcoming me back into my own meeting, which I've organised, yet Teams tells me I didn't, and refuses to let me record. So we're not going to have a recording of this.
Chris is recording, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. So without further ado, and Steve, do you want to give everybody a quick introduction, just in case there's anybody on this call that's never heard of you?
Sure, Mark, go first.
Hi, my name's Steve Mordue. I come from Austin, Texas. I'm a philanderer, a womanizer, a motorcycle rider, and I love power apps.
And my name's Mark Smith, and I'm gay.
And proud.
I only recently found out that that's what GAP stands for. So now my dad won't buy any shirts there. So that's right. Mentioning motorcycles, Steve, we understand you have a large chopper.
Yes, I now have two motorcycles. I'm picking up a second one today. So
You are not.
Fully addicted. The first one I have is the world's fastest motorcycle they make. And the second one will be one of those big things with a trunk and bags and stuff for traveling long distances. So.
Yeah, like it's not really. The first one isn't really a chopper, is it? Isn't it a large super sport?
It's a Triumph rocket, which comes from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Hence, I didn't really want to call it a chopper because that's sacrilege.
Yeah. Terrifying motorcycle.
Yeah, I would. Well, certainly if your foot gets stuck under it. So.
Yeah. Yes. As happened to my wife when she was my fiancée Friday.
And congratulations on your recent nuptials.
Thank you. She's in the other room right now taking online English classes.
Oh, okay. That all makes sense now.
Yeah. She doesn't speak English now, speak Portuguese, so we're never going to have any of those deep conversations, so it's perfect.
Awesome. Sounds like a basis of a strong relationship.
See, Huntingford knows what I'm talking about. Honey, we need to have a chat. Worst words a man can ever hear.
No comprende.
So I think what we wanted to start with is what were your most and least favourite updates in the Wave 1 release. However, I don't think there's really that much to go on, is there? It's decidedly meh. Like, what were you expecting that you didn't get?
Well, it was certainly underwhelming. There were a few things in there. I made a couple of notes here. Nothing that blows my skirt up, but there's a couple of things in there. I think that they're really, and I know I made the same excuse for them with the last release notes, was that they're probably busy fixing all of the stuff that they previously launched and making it all work like it's supposed to, and stop launching new stuff. But I know I said that for the last release notes, and I'm afraid I may have to repeat it again. I can only assume that's what's going on is crossed wires are being uncrossed and things are being fine-tuned, because they launched so much 18 months ago all at once, and it was very exciting, but none of it worked very well, and all of it was fraught with potential, but lots of challenges. So I think there's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes, which isn't really exciting when it comes to release notes.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Mark?
For me, I would say the stuff that's come out in customer insights, the audience insights, and engagement insights kind of coming together, what's planned in that space, particularly around tracking anonymous user behavior across web assets, soon to be apps, etc. I think that's a really powerful story, and I've been 17 years playing this game, and I think customer insights is one of the most powerful tools that Microsoft Biz Apps have in their arsenal right now to, one, go into companies that perhaps are not going to talk about swapping out a CRM system or a ERP system or anything like that, but really what COVID has done is transformed the way companies are engaging their customers more than ever before. They're realizing that if you can't do an in-person type engagement, you need to use digital to make sure you're loving on the customer, if you like, and making sure that they will support your brand. And so what I'm seeing coming out of the investments from Microsoft in customer insights is things like on-premise, data gateway. So big thing that's been asked is, can customers that have their data sets on-prem ingest their data in an ongoing or refreshing type manner? That's going to GA shortly. The ability to ingest data from apps into that. So, companies that have apps that their customers use specifically, they will be able to track that user behavior as well. And at the end of the day, it's creating this, they call it the unified profile, that it really, the companies that are doing it right are just blowing their customers away. If I was starting today, in Microsoft Biz Apps, I would be investing a lot of time in understanding customer insights and jumping on that bandwagon and that journey going forward. I've noticed nobody in the industry, in our community probably more to the point, really is the guru around customer insights. Nobody's talking about it online, nobody's blogging about it, that type of thing, and it's a massive market. Right now Microsoft has millions and millions of dollars of licenses already sold, no partners implementing. So it's a crazy opportunity in market at the moment.
Yeah, we brought that up almost a year ago on the show, that when that product was first out, that, man, this is a hell of an opportunity for partners, but none of them seem to be recognizing it. They don't seem to be going down a path, and here we are a year later, still looking at this incredible opportunity, and none of the partners going down the path. I don't get it. I don't understand why they're missing it.
There's a few partners, Avanade are really big in the US in this space, and what jumps to mind is Chipotle is multi-million, over 100 million unified profiles. You think of that opportunity there, if it's $1,500 for 100,000 profiles, imagine when you have 100 million profiles.
Yeah.
I was talking with somebody in the UK recently. Their customer had 60 million people in their loyalty program. And that was that was their company. The parent company had 60 million people across Europe in their loyalty program. And they're wanting to go, okay, how are customer insights affect? Shut up, Carl. I'm talking. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing. Carl, over to you, Mr. Avanar.
I was just sort of, it's just the scale of it that makes it more of an enterprise application suited because of the size you're talking. And is that why we're not seeing anyone talking about it? Because it's niche at the very top end of our market?
Well, it's a biz app, right? So it sits under Dynamics 365, but really it's a data play. Right, you need to be somebody that understands databases. You need to be somebody that understands data, relationships, that type of thing. It's not so much that CI is an app that a day-to-day user is going to use. A business analyst, a data analyst, a data scientist is going to use it to create that unified profile. But then that's when the traditional Microsoft Biz App partner comes into play to activate that, whether it's through apps or integration into existing commerce software or something like that. So the actual modeling is really in the realms of data. With that, I'll throw to Chris Huntingford.
Yeah, I'm sitting pretty far back because I'm recording the screen and I have no idea what my voice is going to do to this microphone. Anyway,
sounding sexy, bro.
Damn right, man. So, Steve and Mark, I guess the one thing I wanted to just chuck in there is that coming sort of fresh off the boat from Microsoft, one of the things we saw with our partners was that you talk about customer insights, and they're like, so it's a really super version of a CRM. And we're like, no. And they're like, oh no, it's an MDM play. And we're like, no. So I feel like it's somewhere in the middle of that, and I don't know yet if Microsoft have articulated the message clearly enough around what it actually is and does. Like, we know it's a unified customer platform, but do you guys have a blurb or something that can just clear that up?
The clear data is Dynamics 365 brand, but it doesn't require Dynamics 365. I think that's confused some folks. They're thinking it's an add-on to Dynamics or something like that, but it's its own thing. It can use Dynamics or not. But you don't need Dynamics for this product at all, and I think that's confused some partners. And we got sales insights, we got service insights, we got the insights name kind of being bankied around a bit, and I think people are getting a little confused, particularly between sales insights and customer insights. Those two sound very similar to partners and to customers. We're in the middle of a customer insights deployment now for a big global company. And the on-prem gateway that Mark mentioned, we were struggling with that, and finally realized because it's still in preview, you have to put you have to append to the URL to get that to actually appear. But then in talking to the team about the best practice way to deploy that, they're like, well, you can deploy it to your Azure Gen 2 Lake. You can use the built-in customer insights database. They listed off about 5 different options of a way to use that. And I was like, okay, yeah, get in our scenario, which I explained to them. I said, which would you say is the best one? They said, well, really, it's your choice. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't know which to choose.
Yeah.
Can you help me a little bit, point me in the right direction? How about this? Tell me which ones are not as good as others. Trying to pull teeth to get out of these folks to commit to, for your scenario, this would be the best way to deploy it. So I'd like to see that team get a little more pointy on helping, folks really get that nailed down as the best way to get it deployed.
So, Chris, to answer your question, how do you say when people, is this a CRM system, etc.? CRM systems are designed to manage an opportunity, contact record, that type of thing. With a CDP or a customer data platform like Customer Insights, it's about ingesting a massive quantity of data. And we're talking about, if you're connected to Azure Synapse as well, we're talking about petabytes of data. And in a CRM system, you're never going to handle petabytes of data because, like a search engine, too much data is just as useless as no data at all, right? Because you can't find what you're looking for. And what's producing this petabyte of data is back-end operations. It is website traffic, particularly anonymous traffic. So people navigating the website, looking at the products and service, we have no idea who they are. You wouldn't track that data in a CRM because, what would the contact record say? anonymous, and you'd have like a million anonymous records for everybody engaging on your web platforms. What a CDP does is takes this phenomenal amount of data, anonymous data, transactional data, behavioral data, that type of thing, and unifies it into going, these 10 things are actually one thing, and they're all interconnected. The CRM is about managing, as I say, real time, here's an opportunity, here's a sale, here's my contact, and here's the company I'm working with. It doesn't it doesn't manage the massive amount of transactional data. That's what a CDP does, and of course, running AI over that, it looks for the patterns in that data that can result in opportunity. I'll give you another example. In the UK, there was a company that implemented CI, and one of the things that came out is that there was a whole demographic that as a company they didn't even realize that was buying their products and services, like massively engaging with it. It wasn't until they put the platform in place that they found this market, which was spending a lot of money with them. Once they identified it, they started marketing and engaging that group, and it was the return was phenomenal because these people were engaging. They didn't know it. Once they did know it, once those patterns had been identified, they were able to target it and grow their the wallet spend from that customer massively. So the big thing between a CRM and CDP, I'd say one handles a large amount of data than could ever be achieved in the CRM system, and a lot of that data is anonymous until AI pattern matching, that type of thing has been run across it.
I think one of the exciting things about it also, we've got dynamics for marketing where you can build segments, within your Dataverse based on information in your CRM, which is somewhat limited. But with customer insights, you can pull together these profiles, as Mark's talking about, from all these different sources, build this kind of golden record, whatever we want to call it. But you can create segments from there and then send them right into Dynamics for Marketing. So it seems like the quality of a segment that you could build based on all of that data versus the quality of segment you can build off of just what's in your CRM is going to be pretty significant. I think this will be our first deployment of that's pushing the segment from customer insights into Dynamics Marketing. So I'm pretty excited to see what that's gonna result in. But it seems like it could be pretty cool.
I'm going to throw a grenade in here, right? Because and I don't think I'm going to be the only person on this call that thinks this. The CRM system is effectively a journal. Right? And it just tells you if you've contacted someone, if you've made a call, if you've sent an email, all that kind of thing. It doesn't drive any behaviour. And what people are expecting when they buy a CRM is they feel like it's going to run their business and it's going to run their systems, but it doesn't. It doesn't drive any of the behaviour. It's just a record of what's happened. And it looks to me from the way the product set is moving that potentially there'll be no CRM at all because you can access that data through any. In fact, do you even need a CRM if you've got data available in any way that you want to inquire about that data? Looking at the way the team connecting everything up with Teams. If somebody calls up, I could just call up their data in Teams, right? Why do I need to have the CRM? Just having like that. I think I could just see them not having any kind of CRM offering and just having like a master data platform, and then all of your Power Automate and all of your Power Apps and everything, just running everything from there.
I see CRM as kind of the execution layer. Where we've got all this data being, packed in here, and it's coming into a system. We're using CRM, maybe Dynamics Marketing, as an execution layer to act on all that data in bulk and large scale. But then also for that to come back in, which is going to be complicated to do in Teams or something like that, is to create multiple opportunities or multiple legitimate leads based on what's happening. Then it's got to be kind of a place where all of that stuff's happening and where they're converting. And, to your point about, users of CRM maybe not using it well or not driving behavior, I think that's got a lot to do with how effective the system is put together. We've talked about this in the past, and we do this with customers. If your primary goal of implementing a CRM system is to make sure your salespeople are working, it's going to fail. If your primary goal is to make sure your salespeople make more money and are successful, it'll succeed. So build through that window. Whether they're working or how well they're working, you're going to get all that anyway, but don't make that the focus. Make the focus that I've got a sales team. I want to give them a tool that allows them to make more money personally easier. Well, that will absolutely drive behavior. If you accomplish that goal, they would use it.
I think it will and it won't. I don't think it does out of the box.
No,
Realistically,
definitely doesn't.
you still have to build something that's geared towards the user's business. But Mark and I have had this conversation. In fact, I think I even got him a T-shirt that says it. Elon Musk says, if a product needs a user manual, then it's a shitty product.
I agree.
And so, like, if you look at the amount of time we have to spend training people to use systems that carry out tasks that they do in their business every day, like, there just seems to be a massive disconnect. And I agree with you, there needs to be a platform whereby all this marketing stuff is coordinated or whatever, but does it need to be a CRM?
I just noticed that it's past, and does that mean John Cordone comes on with the guitar now and sings us a song?
Yeah.
Hey John, you ready? Do you need a beer or two?
I'm always ready.
On the musical interlude.
Nah, I'm not doing that. Come on.
Oh, come on!
Just remember, you can catch John on Facebook. He does a live stream every now and again. And I got on it this week, and amazing guy, amazing talent.
You're very careful.
I thought we were going to cover release notes, and I don't think we've even touched on them yet, other than to say, But there were a few items in there that caught my eye. I don't know if you guys are interested in discussing any of those.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
Okay.
which are overrated and which are underrated. That's what I would have done. I would have shouted about and said,
I don't know.
overrated or underrated.
I don't know about any of them, but one of them I'm interested in seeing, because I was working with that team when they were putting together the wireframes, and it's the new mobile app experience. I think one of the challenges with the mobile app is it really was just a responsive website. It wasn't built like an app, and Apple or Android app users that use all kinds of apps out there would log into the Power Apps app, and it didn't operate the way any other mobile application worked. So there was a lot of effort with that team to try and let's make this act and feel more like a typical mobile application instead of just a responsive website. So I think we're going to see that coming out, and I think that's going to help a lot on the mobile side. The rest of these things were really just details. Notifications center coming up in model-driven apps to pop up on the side, which could be handy or just plain annoying. I have that, Windows, it pops up notifications, and all I ever do is close it. So we'll see if that actually gets any legs or not. The new duplicate detection capabilities, where you'll now have the option, right when it identifies duplicates, to be able to merge them from there. I think will be a little time saver. Again, none of these are huge. API usage for flows. Lots of folks have been looking for that one, and finally be able to kind of see what the hell's costing us so much money or taking up so much stuff, and be able to see that stuff. Being able to edit solution flows from my flows will be another time saver. I mean, right now you have to keep bouncing back and forth in your solution to go open that flow and then go bounce back to open another one. So have that in one spot is going to be handy. Flow connection references. We'll see this as an ISV is something it's kept us from using flows or Canvas apps in our ISV solutions today because in App Source, where you're looking for that customer to have a push button, do it and self-install, that all blows up without some connection reference capability, which we're looking for. And the last one that I saw was flows triggering on actions, which would be something that a lot of the pro developers will be happy to hear. Other than that, I didn't see anything too exciting, and I think most of those were kind of snoozers. But those were the ones of the entire list that I saw that I thought, okay, this is worth at least a mention on a show about the release notes.
It was a loose topic, Steve.
Yeah.
Just expecting more swearing, really.
So let's go back to John's musical internet.
If I were to ask you, to pick one, if you could only have one, would you have customer service or field service?
Oh my god.
As what?
Like, I don't know, which one do you prefer? Which child is your favourite?
Oh, you mean which one would I sacrifice?
Yeah.
I would probably sacrifice the project service automation. It's a complete piece of shit. Over all of them. You didn't list that one, but of the sacrificial children, I'd shoot that one right in the head.
I did, and I feel it was an oversight on my part there.
Yeah.
But audience insights or engagement insights?
I'll let Mark have that one. Because he doesn't know what it is either.
No, I do. But I want both of them because we're leading to the entire story only as they come together. And so, yeah, I can't let either of them go, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Which one has the most value of the two?
Right now, audience insights. But audience insights will be so much better once engagement insights is fully functional and on par with something like Google Analytics.
Let's assume that they're working on that instead of doing things for the release notes.
So, you can get those kind of analytics from something like HubSpot, which is like a free CRM. And so there must be some reason why you can't have that functionality inside of Dynamics.
I can't remember when HubSpot was free. The last time I got a quote was $20K from HubSpot, so definitely
Still free now?
premium.
Well, their CRM system is free for, I don't know, what, like 100 contacts or something like that.
It's free. It's not limited by the number of contacts. It's just if you want to do, so if you wanted to set up email sequencing on it, you have to pay, but the subscription is £40 a month, £42.
Stop swearing, Alison. Stop swearing.
There's no such thing as free.
We don't. I'm just saying it's, but that has inbuilt. It will tell you if you've emailed someone and they've been and visited your site and stuff like that. And
here it is. See, that's just another point of data that's not connected to anything else internally. At the end of the day, the power of a customer data platform comes when you can take all these disparate jigsaw puzzle pieces that are like scattered over the table and assemble them and go, that's what the picture is here. Now I can interpret what I can see. As long as that data sits in those disparate systems, I'm never going to be able to bring that jigsaw puzzle together and see the opportunities that are lying right in front of me. It's like these companies have the data. They just don't have a way of interpreting that data and looking at it holistically, which is what the whole concept of unified profile are about. So, and the thing is that, even if you look at Google Analytics, for example, it's still, once again, another point solution. It has its data, it has its own web interface with it. You're interacting with Facebook Ad Manager, etc. All standalone. Like, no company works standalone and only uses that product or only uses that product. In fact, right now on MarTech, there's over 8,000 different marketing technology products in market right now as of 2020, probably larger than that now. That's fine having all this fancy technology, but it's only at the unification of profile that I can make sense of my data in an organization. And so really, that's why CDP is not that it's an end to itself, and that it's not something that you're going to have heaps of people logging in and using. It's the actual unification. It's laying out those jigsaw pieces and seeing that picture, and then using that segments and those data points to touch every part of the customer journey, that it becomes powerful. And that's where, it's something like only 13% of companies are using the data they've already collected because they don't know how to use it. They've collected it, but they don't know how to actually use it. So
I'd say 13% is probably generous as well.
That's probably why we see so many demos that don't lead to sales, because they go to the demo and they get all excited that, gosh, we got to have this, but then they turn around and realize there's no way they can fucking get there.
Also true, but I agree 100% with what you're saying, Mum. But all of that data is only useful if you have it in some kind of unified system where you can actually use that to create information that affects logical change for your business, right? But my question is, if HubSpot as a free CRM has that capability, why do we not have it in Dynamics? I'm assuming that there is some technical reason.
Because what you said HubSpot has was the ability to bring in web analytics and email tracking. So it's like you mentioned that basically about 3 or 4 data touch points.
Yeah.
You know, with customer insights, we're talking about, you know, potentially 1 million touch points or more. So let's say you've got a smart fridge and it's been bought from Electrolux, and that's connected, and they know who you are as a customer. They know when you bought it. And then they see that you're on their website and you're browsing for a new ice container for that fridge. They don't have to go what model or anything you have. They know that. They can now proactively engage on your website around exactly what you have. So as a customer, I'm like, you know, I've given all this data to a company. I've entrusted all my data to a brand. And now it's actually paying off, because now they're not trying to upsell me a fridge that I know I only bought 6 months ago. They are guiding me along, you know, the services or features, etc. Let's say around that fridge. A HubSpot, you know, as I say, it's an SMB type product, right? And it's designed to tackle a few point solutions that would help a small to medium business maybe run its operations, but it's nowhere near the scale of being able to ingest, for example, if you're a manufacturing business, how the manufacturing of that product, let's say the unique add-ons. Let's take an iPhone, for example. You've gone up to the iPhone website, you've chosen the make, the model, you've chosen how much, you know, storage you want on, and they say, hey, do you want it engraved? Yes, I want it engraved. This is what I want to have on it. You know, Big Dick Fred, you know, you put that on the back, have that engraved. That's unique to you, right? So when next time you go buy another iPhone, they say, hey, Big Dick Fred, do we want that engraved again? You're not having to go... You know, you're not having to tell them that shit all over again. Where,
Yeah, okay, I get it. So it's more like the marketing shit that Target used to do, which if somebody came in and bought a pregnancy test and used their loyalty card, 6 months later they start marketing them.
They were ahead of the curve, Target, in that example. Yeah.
Chris had his hand up. Sorry, Chris.
No, that's cool. Like just the point on, you know, you mentioned free. The thing that interests me, and especially this is around the platform in general, when you're looking at implementing any type of solution, if it's free, you are the product, right? And the concept is that the moment that something's free, you then have to pay 1 million other people to do data integration, data cleansing, blah, 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 blah. So the concept is, you got $10, right? You're going to give that $10 to someone. You're either going to give it to Microsoft to maintain the platform for you on a monthly basis, or you're going to give it to somebody else to integrate everything and do it all manually, which creates technical debt. So you got to choose which one you pick. But things like CI, all of that stuff's done for you. I mean, yes, there are some things you have to click and link things up, right? But you go ahead and write bucket loads of code. Fantastic. You're paying somebody's services to do that. And that's the whole thing around whenever somebody says something's free to me, my brain goes, well, what do I have to do? How many holes do I have to dig? How many shovels do I have to pick up to make this work for me? So I'd rather pay the platform people to look after the platform than a bunch of people to do some work and heavy lifting in the background. I hope that makes sense.
It makes total sense, and I'm not saying that HubSpot is any good. I was just asking the question about, like, it has some functionality that doesn't seem to be available.
You know, my thought when you
I've
said,
got a quick question for Scott. Can everyone see Scott?
No.
No, he's not on the screen. He just left his chair, so it must be only up on my yeah, back to what you were saying. As in, chat's not working. I was trying to talk to Andrew Beebe, and he wasn't. It says I can't chat with him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for some reason, yes, blame me. By all means, blame me.
No chat.
Even though I organised the team, I'm not the meeting. I'm not the meeting organiser for Summit Next
Gotcha.
Week.
so my first thought when you brought up HubSpot was, okay, fine. You know, part of the beauty of customer insights, and this seems to be turned into the customer insights show. Part of the beauty is we don't care where the data is sitting, right? It doesn't have to be sitting in Dynamics. It doesn't have to be sitting in Dynamics for marketing. It can be sitting in HubSpot. We'll ingest that data from HubSpot, use it to, compile against the profile. The other neat thing that I kind of liked about customer insights, because I had this conversation with Googs at the very beginning of his tenure about the problem with data and how everybody's data is dirty. I don't care how big or small a company you are, your data is shit. And And what kept a lot of people from moving forward in AI was unreliable information because their data was shit. And a big part of that customer insights is we can deal with shitty data. We can recognize that these 7 records are all the same person. You don't have to go in and dedupe or clean all this data. We can recognize these 7 are all one person even from that single source, much less multiple duplicates. So you can even get decent, usable, valuable data out of shitty data, which I find to be pretty amazing. And I think if a lot of customers understood that fact, because I think a lot of them are sitting on the sidelines now saying our data is shit, and just the project to clean up the data is a massive project, and we're not going to do it, so we're not going to get any insights. But
Just
it's
call
just not,
data 8, it's fine.
yeah. But that's not. What about duplicates in all these other point solutions they're using? And I mean, there's bad data all around, and I think the magic of customer insights would be pulling all that together and identifying that single profile in spite of the fact that your data is garbage. And I think if customers understood that, we'd see them moving on it a lot quicker. Especially it's not that expensive, right? $1,500 a month for 100,000 profiles. Granted, many people have many more, but they may actually think they have many more, but they're really just a bunch of duplicates, you know?
Yeah. Scott has his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick plug. I'm doing a talk or a session on customer insights at Scottish Summit. So I want to put that out there for everybody. But
Yeah.
I would say post a link in the chat, but then everyone will just blame me for there not being a chat again. So, I probably won't mention it.
Yeah, there's no chat.
If you want to send me, because of me, if you want to send me a link to your session, Scott, when you have it, I will send it out to everybody on the mailing list. So then perhaps my next question would be customer voice, overrated or underrated?
I don't care. I don't know. I don't touch it. Haven't even looked at it.
You know what? I was disappointed with the name change because they had a nice form tool going on there for building a form for whatever it is you want to build forms for. Maybe you wanted to build forms to collect data from your own maintenance people in the maintenance department. I don't understand why they call it customer voice. I think they made a mistake by renaming the form tool to sound like it is very limited and focused to a particular purpose. This tool is used to collect information from your customers, period, which is not what it's for. So that concerned me a little bit, and I think it probably confused some customers and maybe even impacted the potential usage of that product. Once again, naming strikes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Steve and I have had this discussion before. Like, with the forms tool, I'm pretty much, it's one of these products that I'm like, what the fuck? You're just ticking a box to go, hey, we have a forms tool. Because you can go out and market, and there are forms tools that, they can get you wet type thing. They are awesome. They are functional. They make it really easy for the end user to want to fill out a form. It's not like a big, long fucking page that goes on forever, or maybe 2 or 3, but full of data, and you look at it and you go, fuck, I'm never going to fill this form out forever. It's a nice flow. Here's your question, boom, that answer's gone, and here's your next one. And it feeds off it. It's logical and shit like that. I just feel like, the whole forms tool from day one was an exercise in ticking in an RFP that we have a forms tool. Like, sometimes I wonder, in the engineering team, do they not fucking get passionate about what they're building and go, you know what, I want to build the best fucking thing in market. I want to make this bit of software so addictive that people will go to their spend budgets and go, fuck, we need this product because it's going to transform our business. Not, oh yeah, it does it like everybody else. That's customer voice, the forms tool, it's kind of like, whatever. It does a job. It can be used in a couple of point solutions, but it doesn't fucking get me excited at all. And it could, if the engineering team just got a little bit smarter, about how they thought about it. They need to stop building products that tick an RFP requirement and build products that get people fucking juiced.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like a minimum viable product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Microsoft shouldn't be producing MVPs. They're the fucking biggest software company in the world. You don't produce, and I'm not talking about MVPs, the fucking blue badge. I'm talking about minimum viable products. They shouldn't be producing that. They're the fucking biggest software company in the world. Their software, when it comes out, should be what everybody else in the industry goes, fuck, man, could we do something like that? Not, look, everybody else does that as well. And that's what, like, marketing, when it came out, it fucked me off something chronic. Because it was a bunch of engineers sitting down, fucking looking at a list of what does an RFP ask for? Do we have email censorship? We have it. Like, no fucking, how does a marketer think or do their job? And you know, even who is the main person doing marketing in so many marketing companies and agencies? There's no kind of thought into who the fuck is using the software. They're not engineers. They're creatives. Creatives work differently. But it's kind of like, oh, just ho-hum. Hopefully it's not been publicised that, yeah.
It's a true point though, right? Because like, you know, if you use an Apple product, you don't need to learn how to use it, which is use it, and it's intuitive, right? Like an app or an iPad or what have you, right? But I feel like sometimes Microsoft they discovered something, like a lot of the AI stuff. I remember them advertising it with, like, you could take a photo of a fridge with cans in it and it'll tell you how many cans you need to restock. And I'm like, great, yeah, how many businesses that we deal with need to give a shit about that, like, realistically? And it's like they have a solution for a problem that no one has a lot of the time, right? Rather than coming up with different ways of doing things. Like, you know, looking at how people do things, if they're marketers or if they're salespeople or what have you. I know that there was some changes coming up with, like, digital selling and adaptive sequences or something like that. Like, you know, that's more of the stuff that I would like to see. I would like to see that you can just plug some data and you can get some data on who your target customer is, for example. And I know you can connect up to Sales Navigator. That's a different rant that I'll have on another day. But and downloading some target and prospect information, and then have those targets get.
Does anyone use that new sequencing functionality that came out about the start of last year?
No.
Afford it.
Can anyone tell me how to get it?
If I can get it for you, it's advertising sequences, isn't it?
Is it part of sales?
Yeah, sales insights. Sales insights.
Sales insight. Is that the high velocity selling tool?
Yeah.
And is it an add-on module?
Is that the one where you have to have taken, like, X number of opportunities through to leads through to opportunity for it to have the data, right?
Yeah, no. There's the one around, for those of you who know, I had a company called SalesSpark before the founder committed suicide last year, and he, had this idea of sequences, and then out come Microsoft with their kind of that type of pattern, which is an incredible smart way to sell. Tight integration with LinkedIn. So in other words, rather than initiating like things like phone calls or emails as first point of contact, you do it by LinkedIn, and it's powerful. When I used it, I could get into stakeholders at a phenomenal speed that I could never do in any other channel. Microsoft came out with their equivalent of that. Did it land? Like, where is it? Like, I'd like to get my hands on it and trial it.
I'd love to get my hands on it, but like, it meant me having to get marketing. To get the marketing module, and I'm a small business.
Marketing.
No, it's part of Sales Insights. The whatever version, the extra version is.
To get the sequences, somebody told me to get the sequences, I had to have marketing.
No, there's the sequence functionality in marketing, which is quite different. But this is I think they call it velocity sales or something like that, or Salesforce might call it velocity sales. It's something like that, which is the idea is step by step, as a salesperson, you need to take these steps, follow these actions, and you'll get the consistent outcome. It definitely wasn't part of playbooks. It was something quite separate than that.
Playbooks didn't land either, did they?
Guru
Ratio?
knows everything.
No, it's insights in the premium version.
Sales Insights Premium. That's one.
As
Do you sequence in, like, do you want to call someone if they're a new customer? You should call them by day 3. You can dismiss it or reschedule, etc. Yeah.
Awesome. So what product is it?
Sales Insights Premium, probably. You have some free capacity and you have some you have to pay for. Extra.
Okay, so if I just went up to O365 portal, it's a module I can add on.
Yeah.
It's not O365. It's Dynamics. You're going to go into Sales Insights settings, and it's
in there.
advanced state. Enable premium features.
So you have to agree to some terms and services, etc., and either pay or you have it.
Yeah, let's hope MVPs get all that shit for free.
So we concluded the technical session assisting Mark. Or we,
Well, we've got 5 minutes left, guys. So, unless anybody wants me to carry on enraging Mark, do feel free to ask any questions that you.
I do find it interesting. We see these new products that come out and new things that come out, and then look back not that long ago at products that came out with a lot of fanfare. And you mentioned one, Allison, the playbooks. There was one that we've never implemented it, and I don't know anyone who has. So I don't know if that product just never got off the ground, never got traction. And it does make you wonder sometimes. I mean, obviously we're talking about software for businesses that's being designed by engineers. There's no business people involved, no industry experts, no sales, and it's a bunch of engineers designing software for people who are different than them. And you got to wonder in these rooms where they're coming up with these ideas, in this vacuum bubble of things that think are going to be cool. You get a bunch of engineers coming up with things that can be done, but so many of them then land, and it's like, so what? It's not that exciting.
Yeah.
I think they got lucky.
You look back to the social side of things, right? I remember sitting and asking the product engineers developing the social tools. I was like, and they're ingesting data from Twitter, Facebook, and stuff. And I said, listen, all of you guys, put up your hand if you have a Twitter account. So, they all put up their hand, and of course, okay, so let's change it. How many followers? Oh, 2. We set up a test Twitter account to make sure you've got no idea about social. If you're building a social app and you are not participating in social, how the fuck do you get the right to build an app to address that industry? Because you got some budget thrown at you. You don't even know Twitter. How many of you are following me? None of you? What the fuck? Don't you know who I am?
Well, that was the reason that marketing took such a bumpy path, because the original plan for marketing was it was going to be a business edition product to fall under Adobe Marketing, because that was such a critical relationship at the time, and they said over Click Dimensions, and they put Keyshawn, I can't remember his last name at the moment, in charge of running it, an engineer who had no marketing experience at all. None of them had any marketing experience. So what do you do if you don't know a product? Go find a competing product, which they did. Click Dimensions and HubSpot were the two. And let's just copy what they're doing without understanding why it does that. But it does that for a reason, so we're going to copy that functionality. And that was the whole mentality of so many of these things is, let's go find a product that's successful, and let's copy what it's doing without understanding why it is doing it. And you can't understand everything a product's doing just by looking at a demo and copying it. And I think that's been a challenge for Microsoft on the stuff they built. So when you talk about the social stuff, and that started out as NetBreeze that they bought. So, but they had a head start, at least something that was built by some people that understood. But then it was put in the hands of a bunch of engineers that didn't understand why it was doing any of that. So we don't need this feature. That's obviously silly. And this can be eliminated, and this can be streamlined. It's messing around with a recipe. They don't even understand what it's supposed to do.
Or how it's being used. Yeah.
Or why.
Yeah, or why. Or any of those things, yeah. Philip Cole had his hand up for a second, but he put it back down, so I don't know if he got stage fright or.
Kitchen shit.
That's not nice. Come on. Or maybe you already answered
There
it.
he is. He's coming back. Oh no, he's away now. He's left.
No.
I was just wondering, do you think that the reason there's so lack of exciting stuff in the release notes is because they've got a large amount of technical debt to get over and to get up to speed with workflows and all that sort of stuff? But
Yeah.
Thanks, Philip. That would have been a good question. I should have asked that.
Yeah, I think it's a point.
The other thing is now we're 3 years on from the original engineer, or sorry, not the original engineers, the engineers that came in under James Phillips, right? So we're talking about, things like, what's his name? Cunningham. What's his name?
Ryan.
Ryan. The two Ryans, right? You've got Charles Lamana and that type of thing. These guys are used to like high velocity change, awesome stuff. I'm just wondering if they're now, where they used to be, if you like to use the term hunter-gatherers building the next thing, they're now in this kind of maintenance mode, and it's a bit boring, and it's a bit like, I'm predicting, right, within the next 18 months, James Phillips is going to be gone, Charles Lamont is going to be gone, Brian Jones is going to be on, Brian Cunningham's going to be gone, Stephen Siciliano, all these guys that have kind of led these teams, they've got careers in play. And their careers, they're not wedded, they're not, have a love affair with Dynamics or BizApps like, some of us crazy people in the community. They don't have that. They've got their next big opportunity to chase. They might decide working for Microsoft's no longer their gig. They want to do a new startup or something like that. I just think that we're just in a kind of, dealing with technical debt. None of that shit's exciting. And I just don't know whether these people, 3 years, in a Microsoft career, 3 years, if you're still in the same role you came in 3 years ago, something's wrong. Right? You normally pivoted or moved or seen where the next opportunity is, and you're off on your way. So I think we're due for a massive shake-up in BizApps from a governance engineering point of view.
I'd agree with you.
That could be, what an opportunity to come in, have free reign to build all this stuff halfway, and then leave. Not have to fix it. And just have the fun part, and just exit left.
Just run away as it burns behind you.
Yeah, exactly. I hope customers don't watch this.
Dude, I'm genuinely debating if I should put this up or not. Either way, I'm keeping it for personal use. I want to rerun Mark's rants over and over and over again. I'm going to play it to my children. Mate, why the fuck you shouldn't use forms? Mark Smith. Over to you. Over to you, Mark.
What I'll do is just edit it down to the highlights so it'll end up being like a 12-minute podcast or something like that.
I'm just excited about that clip, man. I promise you now, I'm so amped.
I've got one more question for Mark.
Do it.
You just moved to New Zealand. Is that far enough away from Chris Huntingford?
Oh.
Honestly, the closer I can get to that guy, if I could be inside him, that would be close enough.
We can go back to Norway. No, wait, we're in Sweden. Yeah, let's go back to Sweden. See Carl. The problem is, Mark, he doesn't open up enough. That's the issue.
God almighty, I'm still recording it.
Oh yeah, man, this is gold.
Unless anybody's got any more questions, I think we'll leave it there for this session.
Yeah.
We've got slides to plug and shit.
We moved to every other Tuesday instead of every week because Mark and I were too fucking lazy.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to change up the format a little bit on, what do we call it again? What's our show called? Power Up Live. We do it Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. But, of course, Mark's doing it in the morning. And, it's just me and Mark. That show started out because Mark and I had a weekly call, just the two of us, just to talk shit about Microsoft, other MVPs, how funny looking Chris Huntingford is, etc. And we thought, let's take this show and just broadcast it live and let people listen in on the conversation. So that's pretty much what it still is. It's us just talking shit for an hour. But every other Tuesday. I think our next one's next Tuesday.
So this was a radical departure then, really?
That's pretty much standard fare for us, just more people on it.
Just the same.
You can find it on YouTube. Go look at Mark's YouTube channel and you'll see the,
I know it. I've come to some of them. They're good fun.
Yeah.
I want to mention Mark's
90-day.
90-day mentoring challenge. Thank you. I think that if you're not on that and you can find a space, get on that as soon as you can.
1st of April's kickoff.
Yeah, Mark, the fact that Mark does that is amazing because I would never do anything like that. It's way too much work.
So,
and yeah, very much second.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, tomorrow.
Bye.
Right, so other events that are coming up, we've got the Power Platform UG in Leeds on the 16th of Feb, which is next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday, I believe. Also on the 16th of Feb is the virtual Power Group where they're doing chatbots. The virtual Power Group, if you haven't done Paddy's here, if you haven't gone to any of their sessions, they're really good. They're very kind of live and interactive, and I've learned a lot of stuff from there, so do pop along. Amazing Applications Community Call on the 18th of Feb. Is it? Yeah. Nice. And 19th and 20th is Power Platform Bootcamp. Different to the normal kind of bootcamp that I'm used to, but Cambridge Power Platform UG on the 19th. 27th of Feb is Scottish Summit. I think there's more than a few people on this call that are talking there. If anyone's talking and wants to plug their session, please raise your hand. You can also watch me and Ben Vollmer talk shit for 45 minutes as well, so that'll be awesome. Then on the 2nd to the 4th of March is Ignite. I think my face is still on the website from last year, so that's a different coloured hair then, so you might recognise it. And Dynamics Con from the 16th to the 18th, and then our next Power Platform Virtual Happy Hour on the 17th of March, where we
Is anyone on Dynamics Con? Did anyone win the
Yeah.
popularity competition and as a speaker?
Yeah.
Charity one, yes.
I did. Me, I got it. Pick me.
I don't know if you guys heard the guy, I think he posted a clip on Twitter saying about, answering a question. It was a popularity competition about who could get the most votes to speak. I tell you what, his response didn't convince me that it's not.
Okay, well, it is what it is, I think, effectively. Anybody else want to plug their session? Anyone else speaking at Summit want to plug their session? Feel free. Otherwise, we will call it a wrap.
Awesome.
And stop recording.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave us a review below.